Welcome to States of Justice. Where you watch from, please tell in comment box. There are moments in law enforcement when justice is not about the badge, the rank, or the gun, but about character. The kind of character that reveals itself when silence stands against noise, when restraint faces arrogance, and when integrity becomes the loudest voice in the room. At the Jefferson Police Training Academy, reputation mattered more than rules. It was a place where the loud were seen and the humble were ignored. Among the sea of recruits sweating under the Arizona sun stood a young woman named Officer Lena Morales. Quiet, composed, and underestimated from day one. Lena was the kind of recruit who spoke only when necessary. Her calm made others uneasy, her silence often mistaken for weakness. She was of Hispanic descent, raised by a single mother who worked 2 jobs and still found time to remind her, "Justice is what you do when no one's watching." But someone was watching. Sergeant Cole Braddock, the lead instructor, a man whose reputation for toughness had long crossed into cruelty. Known for his mocking tone and racial jabs disguised as jokes, Braddock believed in breaking recruits to build them up. And when he saw Lena, he saw someone to break. From the first week, the academy became a test of humiliation. Extra laps, harder drills, silent taunts. When she struggled with the combat gear, laughter echoed. "Lightweight rookie," Braddock sneered. "You sure you're cut out for real streets?" Lena never responded. She tied her gloves tighter, lifted her chin, and endured. The other recruits, mostly young men eager to impress, followed the sergeant's lead. Mockery became routine. Her silence only fueled their disbelief. They didn't know yet that beneath that calm exterior was a storm, not of anger but of control, a storm that would soon rewrite what strength truly meant inside those walls. The day came when Sergeant Braddock introduced Sparring Week, a tradition meant to separate the weak from the worthy. Each recruit was paired off. Those who lost were sent to run laps under the scorching sun. When Lena's name was called, Braddock smirked. "All right, Rookie Morales. Let's see if you can last 30 seconds. Her opponent, Officer Dean, a muscular recruit who'd laughed the loudest at her expense. The first blow came fast, a showy jab meant to intimidate. Lena didn't flinch. She ducked, pivoted, and countered with precision. The crowd gasped. Dean hit the mat. "Lucky hit," someone shouted. Then another recruit stepped forward. Then another. One by one they fell. Each time her movements were sharp, efficient. Not angry, not vengeful, just disciplined. Years of quiet training surfaced with mathematical precision. Every strike was a statement. Calm is not weakness. The final opponent, Sergeant Braddock himself. He stepped into the ring, smirk fading to unease. "Think you've proven something, rookie." "Only that respect is earned, sir." The crowd held its breath. In under a minute, Braddock hit the floor. Silence followed, not of disbelief, but of realization. For the first time, the academy understood. The quiet one wasn't weak. She was the standard. By sunset, the story had spread through every hallway. The 6 who had laughed the loudest now sat in reflective silence. No one mocked. No one joked. Even Braddock avoided eye contact. Lena didn't celebrate. She finished her drills, logged her times, and returned her gloves like every other day. But her quiet defiance had shifted something deeper. A culture built on ego had just met humility face to face. The next morning, the academy ran drills in unusual silence. Recruits who once ignored Lena now asked her advice on tactics. The same men who had mocked her now followed her lead. It wasn't fear. It was respect, earned, not demanded. Braddock, however, was a different story. He called her into his office. The air was heavy with the kind of tension that comes when pride meets guilt. "I underestimated you," he admitted reluctantly. "You proved me wrong." Lena met his eyes, calm as ever. "You didn't underestimate me, sir. You underestimated what quiet people can carry." There was no anger in her tone, only truth. And truth, when spoken without hatred, cuts the deepest. The Academy Board later reviewed Braddock's conduct. Complaints had piled up for years, buried under bureaucracy. But now, with witnesses and footage, silence could no longer protect him. Braddock was reassigned. Not fired, but humbled. Lena graduated top of her class, not for her physical power, but for her integrity, the one thing that can't be trained, only lived. Weeks later at the ceremony, the captain addressed the new officers. In this academy, we teach you how to fight, shoot, and survive. But what Officer Morales taught us is something no manual covers, that the greatest strength in a badge is the courage to remain calm when the world tests your worth. The recruits rose to their feet. Applause echoed not for a victory, but for a value rediscovered. Justice has no color, no gender, no volume, only truth. 5 years later, Lena Morales wore her badge in the field, not just as an officer, but as an instructor. At the same academy where she once stood silent, new recruits now trained under her guidance. They called her the Quiet Sergeant. Every year during orientation, she told a story, not about herself, but about a lesson. There was once a recruit, she'd begin, who was mocked for being calm. But calm is what saved her, and the respect she earned changed this academy. The story became legend. Recruits whispered it before tests, quoted it during drills. "Don't mistake silence for weakness" became the unofficial creed of the Jefferson Police Academy. Even Sergeant Braddock, now retired, attended one of her classes. He watched quietly from the back as she instructed a room of diverse, determined recruits, men and women of every background, standing side by side. When the class ended, Braddock approached her. "You turned this place into what it should have been all along." Lena smiled slightly. "We did, sir. One change at a time." Before leaving, Braddock asked, "If you could tell every young officer one thing, what would it be?" She paused, looking out at the recruits marching on the field. "That we wear badges, not for power, but for protection. And protection means everyone. Justice isn't about who's loudest. It's about who's right when no one's watching." Her words became the Academy's oath, carved on a plaque by the entrance. Never mistake calm for weakness. Integrity is louder than prejudice, and justice begins with restraint. The story of Lena Morales wasn't just remembered, it became policy. And so, from a single act of courage, one rookie changed an entire institution, not through anger but through example. Because in the world of law enforcement, true power isn't about domination, it's about discipline. And those who carry justice quietly often leave the loudest echoes. They laughed at the quiet rookie. Then she took down 6 officers in training. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe for more powerful stories from States of Justice, where every badge hides a story and every story reveals the truth.